Hey, I'm super sorry if you clicked on this video because you wanted to have a laugh. I'm not gonna be funny at all. I just found an article I wanted to share, so feel free to leave or stay and learn something. Anyway, I wanted to share this article with you I just read about what teachers do in the classroom and how it affects student learning and proficiency. The authors are Ruben Vint, Pamela Wesley, and Diane Neubauer. Specifically, these two questions. Number one, how do differences in teachers' instructional practices, specifically in terms of their reported target language usage and explicit grammar instruction, relate to students' outcomes in listening, reading, and writing as measured on a standardized language performance assessment? And number two, to what extent does the relationship between teachers' instructional practices and students' outcome vary by language or instructional level? We want to lesson plan using high leverage teaching strategies, but we have to know what they are. And I've wasted too much student learning time doing things that I thought were right because my teacher did it for me, because I don't always take the time to implement research-based pedagogies. Shocking, I suck at something. Anyway, here's what happened in the studies. 26 Spanish and French teachers from 13 middle and high schools participated in the study. They were given a survey to share their educational background, teaching practices, and their beliefs regarding comprehensible input, target language use, and reported time in the target language in each class, textbook use, how they prioritize explicit grammar instruction and knowledge in class, and more. Then, 10 of the teachers were observed live in their classes, and researchers were able to confirm that the teachers' reported use of their target language in the class actually matched what they did. The observations didn't reveal any significant differences between what they reported and what actually happened. The study incorporated 2,179 assessments, which assessed listening, reading, and writing, and the rubric used for scoring was aligned with actual proficiency guidelines. Consistent patterns emerged with respect to the pre-test and post-test scores. Two significant predictors of students' growth throughout the year were found. One, time spent in the target language, and two, the teacher's use of explicit grammar teaching. Teachers' reported use of explicit grammar was found to have a negative correlation with student score gains in level 1 and a positive correlation with gains in level 4. In levels 2 and 3, there was a positive relationship with gains in French, but a negative relationship in Spanish. For target language use at levels 1 and 2, teachers' reported percentage of time in the target language had a positive relationship with outcomes. Actual advocates that we use the target language 90% plus. Actually, you right. Now, teachers, this study doesn't just give us permission to babble on at our advanced high proficiency level, leaving our kids in the dust. However, it does lead me to the conclusion that we might need more training so our kids know what we're saying. We want to be comprehended, and if they don't know what's going on, it's our fault. I+1, baby! Gleason and Donato have suggested some techniques to be comprehensible. We might need to use gestures and visuals and paraphrasing and a slow rate of speech and frequent comprehension checks and dramatizations and familiar vocabulary and connected discourse rather than presenting isolated words for drill. I made a whole video on this, I'll just link it somewhere. And another thing, if we know target language use is so beneficial in the early levels, I don't see how we can spend a ton of time on explicit grammar teaching. You know we're speaking English when we're teaching grammar to level 1 students. Ser versus a star rules. Drop the AR, it's a reflexive verb. Gustar is a backwards verb. The dress pleases me. There's no way we can teach these complex grammar rules in the target language. We'd be using English. I mean, I can't. Well, I've never seen it done. Maybe you can. When our students are ready to learn grammar, maybe in 3 or 4, we need to teach grammar in context, and we bring our attention to form at the service of being able to communicate. And lots of other studies were noted in this article have concluded that students with more comprehension-based and communicative instruction were at least as successful on tests of grammar and vocabulary. Focusing on grammar rules instead of meaning fails to help students develop adequate levels of proficiency. Let's not strip grammar rules of their context. They need meaning. No more grammar points of the day. Oh, and one more thing I want to mention. This study indicates that more advanced students' language development may be enhanced by explicit grammar instruction. More advanced language classes could shift slightly to integrate explicit grammar instruction to match the social interactions and in-context language usage that is already familiar to the experienced students. So if we, comprehension-based loving teachers, see a post from another teacher in a forum or in a Facebook group that says, "Can you help me teach grammar, blah, 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 grammar, blah, blah, blah," maybe we shouldn't attack. Don't freak out. Remember, we don't know what level they're teaching, we don't know why they're teaching what they're teaching, and we don't know their teaching circumstance. As for me, I still have to get through chapter 3 of Descubre by June. Gotta love those PLCs when you don't get your way. Every few days, I rip the grammar band-aid off as fast as I can so we can get to the real and meaningful stuff. Mama gotta eat. Well, that's it. I'll link the study somewhere so you can read all the parts I left out on purpose and make your own decisions. Peace, Proface!